Thursday, June 24th, 2021. Today on the Daily Review, we discuss a classic film from the 90s that I've never seen before until last night. Highly recommended, incredibly mature, and maybe even a masterpiece. It is François Girard's The Red Violin. With your host, me, Joe LaRocca, on the best show on the internet, the Daily Review. Hey guys, what's up? Girard. François Girard. I never know how to say French names. So this came out in 99 or 98, depending on where you look on the internet. And it is amazing, man. This is a movie that people recommended to me for a long time. And I don't know why, to the point where I even bought it. When I found it used for $1, I went, oh, people always say this movie's really good. And I've never seen it. Because it always seemed like, when it came out, I remember going, that looks boring. Because, I was too young. 99, I didn't know things. And I'm glad I'd never even seen a trailer, actually. I just seen the cover. So I knew really nothing about it other than the fact that I think even people, please write in the comments or in the whatever if you were one of the people who recommended this a while ago. But I can't remember exactly who it was. But somebody was like, you should watch that. And, being on this music kick thing, I was like, this makes sense. I should watch this right now. So anyway, it follows a rare guitar, it follows a rare violin, the last violin of, I forget who, Timotei Buschino or something like that, some Italian violinist, and it's his masterpiece, and it's kind of magical. I won't spoil anything, but it's got some magic powers, it seems like, and it's from like the 1680s Italy, and so we follow it. The movie's broken into kind of 3 parts, and it jumps around, but not higgledy-piggledy just to mess with you. Brilliantly. I actually think that this is one of the better edited movies I've ever seen, like in the top 50 edited movies of all time, like up there with, Raging Bull in 2001 and, maybe Lawrence of Arabia, Pulp Fiction. Like, I know those are all a bit better, but, it's that level of editing. It really is like genius, jumping around but keeping it together. So what it does is the 3 stories are the wife of the violin maker, which I'm sure has a name, is pregnant, and the violin has been made for the unborn son. He will be a musician. Here's the most perfect, here's the most perfect version of the instrument he can play, and he's going to make him a star and everything. And so it's her, the wife, having her fortune read in the kitchen of his workshop and doing, tarot card reading. And each card kind of, then it doesn't do it in a flamboyant way or in a way that's really in your face. You don't even realize it till halfway through. It's like, oh, they're telling, this is what this card means. And the fortune that the fortune teller is reading is not of the wife, it's of the violin, which you'll learn why as the movie goes along. It has a lot to do with like the soul or whatever. Yeah, Tim, I want to talk about the father in a second when I'm done with this, because you brought that up, and it's a good thing to talk about. Anyway, so there's the one story of her being told like kind of what's going to happen. Then there is an auction in modern day with all these people bidding on it, and every time we see it, we get a little bit further in the auction, and then it'll cut back to the main story, which is following kind of the life of the violin and like how it passes through all these different people's hands, from Germany, Italy to Germany to Austria, and they're speaking French, and then they're in Vienna and they're speaking French and German and Italian, and then it goes to like Romania or something you don't even really know, and then it ends up in the UK, and then Maoist Shanghai, and it's crazy how it bounces all over the place and how it affects people's lives. We spend a lot of time with Casper Weiss, a young kid who grows up in a with the monks in an orphanage, and he's like, so he has to sleep with the violin because if it's away from him, he gets sick and he has like heart problems. And when he plays, you can hear his breathing the whole time. The whole movie, you can just hear whenever he's on the screen. There's this subtle effect that you can tell that he's having cardiovascular issues without them being super over the top about it. I just thought all that was it's just such smart storytelling. And they do this thing with him where this guy's made a metronome. And it's like, all right, you can play it at this tempo, and then every time we play it, we're going to move it down a little bit until you're at the bottom, and you're going at this tempo, and then you'll be the king of the world because you can do anything if you can do it this fast. And so, it's a great montage of him getting faster and faster, and you see this little kid, and you're like, oh, this kid's going to like drop dead. It's crazy. So it kind of moves around. It gets buried with the kid, and then grave robbers take it, and then some guy named Lord Pope. I don't even know how much of this is true. Some UK violinist, and he's like the devil basically, and he uses it, and like it's all associated with sex and stuff. It's so cool, and like yeah, it's like almost like a monkey paw, like you know the story of the monkey paw, which is like you get a monkey paw and you wish, and every finger on his hand you get a wish, and but it always ends up backfiring. You're like, I want to be the richest person in the world, and then you'll get like $10, and then everybody in the world will die, and then it'll be like, see, you're the richest person in the world, you're alone with $10, and you're like, goddamn. It kind of has that effect, and so I won't go on to spoil anymore, but I just highly recommend this, but just love how the violin has like powers of its own. I mean, it doesn't like fly around or talk or anything, but it's almost like it's alive, and it's kind of like, does it like, and how it truly affects people. And it's kind of a symbolism for how music affects people, and for how like kind of an inanimate object can inspire you and give you so much meaning in your life. And but then it becomes the question of like, well, is it always bad? Is this like a cursed instrument, And then you realize, no, the main character is the instrument. It's not. We don't care as much about the people who are affected by it. We care about the instrument itself, which is brilliant by the end, because it becomes a character, and we learn kind of exactly why. And so it's broken into these three themes of money, art, and mysticism or fate or something. And each of those three stories break down that way. The auction is about the money aspect of it, like what do we give value? And then the story, the fortune teller part is kind of the mysticism, like, oh, do we have fate, or or can we do whatever we want, or is it already predetermined for us? And then the kind of story of the violin is kind of this story of art, how art is affected. I mean, because that becomes very obvious when it gets to like Maoist red Shanghai China, and they're like, everybody's breaking records and musical instruments are outlawed and all this stuff, and it's like, oh god, yeah, this is the history of art. It's not just the history of this one instrument. It's the impact of art on all these different situations. It's brilliant. It's like Forrest Gump the violin. It's Violin Gump. It's Forrest Violin or something. The Inciting Incident is so good too. It's like no dialogue. So I tried to watch the movie without subtitles, because at first I put in the DVD and the subtitles didn't come up, but it was Italian, and I was like, okay, I get this. I can hear enough Italian to know what was going on, and it's very visual, and which is a good, good indicator of good storytelling, is if you can get away with what's happening and you don't even really need the dialogue. But it's just all these people in a shop in the 1600s, like working on violins, like very carefully, and then this kid has finished one and it looks good, and he picks it up. The main, whatever his name is. No, it's not Brunelleschi. That's the guy who made the dome like an egg, and I've seen it. It's in the Duomo in Italy, in Florence. The Duomo is one of the most beautiful cathedrals I've ever seen, and I walked by it every day for 4 months, a couple times a day. I'm so lucky to have had that experience. Anyway, this kid, and he's like, it's perfect, everything's perfect about it, except it sucks, and he smashes it. And you're like, whoa, baby, this guy's a perfectionist. We understand the importance of this. And then I was like, this is great. I can keep up with it in the Italian and everything. And then they start speaking French, and I was like, okay, I gotta put the subtitles on. I don't know what's going on. So Sam Jackson, that's a good question, Eddie. And he's like, is Sam Jackson even in this movie? Well, one of the funny things is I saw an interview with him once where he said, what are your 5 favorite movies that you've made? That like, which is, they rarely ask that, but like, stuff you watch that when it comes on. And he was like, Long Kiss Goodnight, Jackie Brown, The Red Violin, and then and a couple others. They were all late 90s movies. And I was like, that's interesting. And so he really likes, he's really proud of his performance in this. And for most of the movie, you're going to be like, okay, they just put his name in the box because he's super popular right now. It's true. He's not in a ton of the movie, but in the end part, he becomes a big part of it. He's kind of the one who has the idea that maybe this is the Red Violin. And he's investigating that. So it's great. It's like a mystery and a love story and a history story and about, like I said, all those things: religion, art, and money. It's really kind of genius and very mature, it's a very adult movie made with a lot of restraint and just very well written. Anyway, how's everybody doing? I would like to talk about The Father for a second, because Tim watched it and he was like really impressed by it. The editing in the Father's great, and just that performance is like, because people got mad because Chadwick Boseman didn't win for his very good performance in Ma Rainey, but once you see The Father, you're like, oh, that might be like the best performance I've ever seen. What's his name in there? Well, but what else did you think about it, Tim? I mean, you just wrote that you have a cold heart of stone, but it broke you to tears, which is exactly how I felt. I was like, oh, this movie's pretty good, and then like half an hour later, I was like, I don't want to die. I want my mommy too. That's a perfect film. Both of these movies are both very mature, very incredibly well written, well edited, and is none of that flashy bullshit. Yeah, I mean, The Father's magnificently edited, totally subtle. None of that. I like Pulp Fiction's editing, and I think it's really genius for that movie, but all the other movies that try and do that stuff, like clever jumping around, like winking at the camera, is dumb, Now, I'm not saying this movie's better than Citizen Kane, Pulp Fiction, 2001, or Raging Bull. I'm just saying the editing is like, boy, is it up there. And I think it is. It's on par with something like The Father as well, which has that kind of clever editing where you can't feel the hand. You can't feel the filmmaker doing it, but they're doing it, Kenneth Lonergan does that very well, with You Can Count on Me, and I almost said Mystic River. What's that? What's his other one? Manchester by the Sea. Anyway, I rarely cry at films, but I cried about 5 times in 90 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, it is a bit of a horror film in a way. Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, and I couldn't believe it was a first-time director either, Tim. Yeah, when I saw it. Yeah, I was really impressed by The Father. I think also because it doesn't look like it's going to be that interesting. Like, it's called The Father. It's got kind of a boring poster. You're like, oh, great, a bunch of good British accent. Yes, I do think the guy is a playwright, so he has directed plays before. But that movie is very specifically not a play, Like, the way it's edited, it seems very cinematic, and the way they deal with the sets are very much like a play. But the guy, it's not like he never directed anything ever. He didn't just come in one day and go, I got a movie, where's Sir Anthony Hopkins, to give the performance of his career, probably. One of the performances of his illustrious career. Anyway, yeah, so boy, this is a movie that has been recommended to me for a while, and I'm glad I sat on it, because I'm glad I can wait a little bit. And, I'm glad I have a few awesome films in the vault, So yeah, I highly recommend this. I had it on DVD. I don't know if it's playing anywhere, but I don't know. I guess some people might find it a little bit boring, but I really don't think so. It's really kind of a 90s classic, It's got that thing. It's got that pre-9/11 thing, which I don't even fully know how to describe, but there's something about this type of story that kind of stopped happening at a certain point. But who are the two Olivias? It might be the best play turned. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other plays that are turned into movies. I'd have to research that a little bit more. But man, it is pretty amazing. Well, the location allows it to be play-like without it feeling like a cop-out. Yeah, I don't know what the two Olivias are. yeah. Oh, yeah, the Olivias. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, they're amazing. What's her name? Olivia from... And then the other Olivia. I don't like Hateful Eight. Too long. Fuck you, Hateful Eight. No, I'm just kidding. That's the thing I don't like about Hateful Eight. It does feel like a play. There's a lot of things I don't like about Hateful Eight. That's my least favorite Tarantino movie. Did you know that? I like it. Well, maybe second least favorite. But it's okay, Tim. I still respect you. Olivia Colman, yes, of course. And then the other Olivia from Rushmore. Olivia Williams. Yeah, Ben. There's a scene where Jason Fleming, who's a great actor, he's having sex while playing the violin, and it's really impressive, Ben. You're right. Yeah, you should revisit it. It is very, very good. It is good, man. It's just so maturely made. I haven't seen a movie like it in a long time, you know. Or maybe since The Father, which was a few months ago, but which is a good comparison. Wait, are you a violin player, Ben? Is that your icon? I can't tell, or is my mind just reading that? Is my former student Ben Lee one of the greatest violin players of all time? Oh, I didn't know you were a violin player, Ben. Why didn't you ever make one of your videos about violins? Well, hey, watch it again, and then you can come on and we'll have a little discussion about how accurate the violining is in it. Just like a little extra thing. Let's totally do that. So if you watch it again, let me know. Okay, yes, Tim, I agree. I also saw the 70mm roadshow of Hateful Eight on Christmas Day with Gotham, and we got dressed up. Like, we did it like he asked you to. And we went, and we had, like, one of the best experiences ever. In fact, I still have the roadshow book. Anyway, it's amazing. It's amazing. It was so much fun. But then when I watched it again, like later, I was like, oh, that's a little overindulgent. Hang on. Anyway, that's funny. But yeah, no. When I watched it, I was like, I kind of don't like where it goes. It turns into a Tarantino movie, and I don't think it needs to. That's just my opinion. It was an amazing thing. I'm really hard on Tarantino because I think he's like, the top. So when I say like a movie of his is my least favorite movie, it's still, if anybody else had made it, I'd be like, oh, that's the best movie they made, But yeah, I don't really like that. The Grindhouse thing is all right. But yeah. Do you have this one though? This is the much more important one. This is the Phantom Thread one. Ooh, baby. Do you have this one? This is The Making of Jurassic Park, one of the best film books ever written. Okay. Well, then you gotta have this one. This is the Ran screenplay storyboards in which he painted almost every scene. Kurosawa painted almost every scene of this movie before it got made. Just so you know. Okay, I'll stop pulling books off the shelf. I did get a good grade from Joe, but COVID hit during the last semester at BC, and I didn't have a great final project to showcase. Oh, I'm sorry, bro. Alright, guys, I'll make a video tour of every... I just showed you like every film book I own, basically. Or all the really cool ones. Alright, I'll show you two more books. Here's an amazing one. Stanley Kubrick's The Greatest Movie Never Made. It's about his attempt to make a Napoleon movie, but he did make it. It's all in here. It's just in book form. Amazing book. One more. This is called The Godfather Notebook. And it's his breakdown of the script with his actual notes written in it. Francis Ford Coppola. So it's the book broken down. Amazing book. Alright, that's all I got. I don't really read actor bios much. Yes, I have seen At Eternity Gates. At Eternity's Gate. I kind of love it. It's amazing. That performance is really amazing. And just a different style of filmmaking, you know? But it feels like the way Van Gogh would have wanted it, you know? Really think pretty brilliant movie. What did you think? But Ed, I don't really read actor bios much. Oh, I should check that out. I do love Marlene Dietrich. Yeah, it's got like that myopic view. And I think it has to do with like he's making an expressionistic movie. Like how his paintings are. I mean impressionistic, whichever. Alright, I've kind of lost control of what's happening. You told me a while ago it reminds you of one of your 5 favorite shows you watched as a kid. What is? Oh shit. Right. I should do a Neil Breen movie. But what can you say, really? They're so dumb. They're so poorly made. I'll just kind of leave it to Red Letter Media to do those. No, it's fine. I'm having trouble following. I don't know what you're talking about, Tim, when you're saying it was one of your 5 favorite shows as a kid. I kind of lost that thread. But I do want to read this Marlene Dietrich book. I think Neil Breen is hysterical. He's funny. Mads Mikkelsen, yeah, he's one of the best actors. Check out Another Round, his more recent movie. And I love, what's his name, is Gauguin. I think he really pulled that off. Oh, good. Maze of Amazement. I'm glad to see you around. But You told me a while ago to remind you of your 5 favorite childhood TV shows. I get you. It's for 5 Favorite Fridays. Yes, I might do that. I'm also thinking about doing my 5 favorite times that musicians brought fans on stage to play with them. You know what I'll do? I'll go on Audible, and I'll get it on Audible because I have a couple free credits on Audible, and that's like a audiobook thing, and I'm way more likely to read it if it's an audiobook. Read it. All right, guys, we've gone too long. Anyway, definitely, this movie, I highly recommend this movie. When it comes to the end of the year, like at last year, and I kind of listed my favorite movies that I'd seen that year, and it didn't matter, it doesn't matter when they came from. It could be from the 20s or whatever, but I think that this will be in one of my favorite movies that I've seen this year, but who knows? Oh, and I forgot to show you guys this. I got a maraca from. I forgot it was in my cooler when I just cleaned out a bag from my car, like this portable cooler thing I have, and I forgot I'd gotten this. Let's see what it sounds like on camera, like through the mics. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's see.